welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. A reminder of our major stories tonight. Religious leaders and elder statesmen, led by former military leader General Adusalami Abubakar, call for a halt to the killings in southern Kaduna. Northern Elders Forum commend efforts of the military in curbing insurgency in the northeast, just as suicide bombers strike in Madagali again. The Department of State Security secures the release of 4 kidnapped oil workers from their abductors in Port Harcourt. And US President Barack Obama awards his deputy Joe Biden the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the country's highest civilian honor. Just to let you know that for more on our top stories and others, please visit our website, channelstv.com, and on youtube.com/channelsweb. You can also watch us on the go on your mobile device. Log on to m.channelstv.com or download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows phones from their respective stores. And having the Channels TV and Channels 24 app will give you access to news and updates. You can also have the eyewitness feature, so you too can be part of the news. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the eyewitness menu and follow the instructions to share those pictures, videos or news of happenings around you. A Lagos State High Court sitting in the Ikeja area today convicted 2 oil marketers, Walter Wagbasoma, Adoha Ugo Nnadi and their company, Ontario Oil and Gas Limited, for defrauding the federal government of the sum of 754 million naira. Before the sentence could be read, however, the second convict, Mrs. Ugo Nnadi, who was present in court, collapsed in the dock. The ensuing confusion forced the court to adjourn the proceedings to Monday, January the 16th, when the sentence would be delivered. The convicts were arraigned by the EFCC on an 8-count charge of conspiracy, obtaining property by false pretense, forgery and altering of documents. While delivering judgment in the 5-year-old case, Justice Latifat Okunu held that the prosecution has proved its case against the convicts beyond all reasonable doubt. The first convict, Walter Wagbasoma, who is the chairman of Ontario Oil and Gas Limited, was convicted in absentia as he had fled the country, despite the fact that the court is holding his passport and other travel documents. He is currently under house arrest in the UK, where he is also accused of fraud. And from there, we can see my colleague there, Ibrahim Adra. Ibrahim.
Many thanks, Ijoma. Let's start from the nation's capital. Now, recent bloodletting in some parts of the country is giving members of the Bring Back Our Girls a cause for concern, and they have condemned the violent clashes by various groups. The group made their position known as they march on the nation's federal capital for the 6th consecutive day to demand an end to violence and armed conflict across the country. Our correspondent, Ajuri Ngelale, reports.
The Abuja dawn converged with the sounds of horse hooves, which symbolizes the presence of the Presidential Escort Brigade in the federal capital, just as emblematic melodies emanated from the instruments of servicemen in preparation for Armed Forces Remembrance events on Sunday. While the solemn sounds of patriotic valor filled the morning winds, marching chants of a different sort adjoined just meters away. Marching against insecurity in southern Kaduna and other violent hotspots across Nigeria. The Bring Back Our Girls group says the continuous loss of Nigerian life is reducing citizen perception of government's regard for them.
Our governance has always been centered around the benefits of oil rent. When a country puts a lot of premium on oil that it does not have to work hard for, then it doesn't care what happens to citizens.
A resident of southern Kaduna, while sharing his harrowing account, called called on the federal government to resolve the crisis.
Women who have been made widows. We have orphans who are going up and down on the streets of southern Kaduna, and it is very, very, very terrible.
The campaigners assert that inequalities in perceptions of life value between the powerful and the powerless account for rising death tolls.
We say that no Nigerian is more Nigerian than any Nigerian. Our lives should be important the way the politicians and the people in government see their lives as being important.
While the protesters urge the government on the need to fundamentally value human life, they challenge all Nigerian citizens to embrace empathy and deplore unlawful death in any form, jungle justice, terror, and criminality alike. Ajuri Ngelale, Channels Television News.
Well, there are other protest marches, this time around the southwest, where resident doctors are calling for better conditions of service. In Ogun State, the doctors are demanding the implementation of the National Health Act, while in Osun State, the doctors staged a peaceful protest over welfare. Their counterparts in Ekiti State also want the federal government to implement the 2013-2014 agreement between them and the association.
Resident doctors of the Obafemi Awolowo University Teaching Hospital in Osun State staged a peaceful protest over what they describe as neglect of the health sector by government. The president of the association says their demands range from payment of salary arrears to implementation of the National Health Act.
Nigeria has the manpower, but the deplorable state of the sector is discouraging. And this is reflected in the recent rate at which resident doctors leave the country for a better working condition in countries like Canada, Australia, South Africa, India, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, to mention a few. On the average, about 5 to 10 residents, doctors per year, leaves each center at the early stage of their program for another country.
While in Ogun State, at a meeting in Abuja, the state capital, doctors are asking the federal government to implement the National Health Act.
The wearing of bands, the wearing of black work coats, black shirts and all of that, black scrubs, is a demonstration of our mourning state. Everybody, home and abroad, whoever has that influence, an average Nigerian is dying. You need to see the way we lose people. Avoidable death. But the rich and mighty can be flown abroad at the earliest of complaints. But we have come to see an average Nigerian who gave everything hoping that change will come. And the change in earth is not coming.
In Ekiti State, a joint media briefing was held by doctors working at the state and federal levels, where they called on President Muhammadu Buhari to make healthcare service affordable for all Nigerians.
White paper on residency training program, implementation of National Health Act 2014, payment of full salary to all our members, appropriate entry step for house officers, appropriate placement of all doctors, then pension deduction and remittance, uniformity in the application of the no work, no pay rule.
As doctors across the country call for improved welfare and conditions, the resolution of the issues can only be in the best interests of the people.
Staying in Ekiti State, Governor Ayodele Fayose says despite the financial challenges facing the state and the nation, he remains committed to developing the state's infrastructure. The governor said this while flagging off the last phase of Ado-Ikere-Ekiti Road Dualization project with a promise to deliver it by October 2017. The governor explained that the dual carriageway will help to reduce the heavy traffic in Ikere town. A rousing welcome for Governor Ayodele Fayose as he returned to the ancient town of Ikere-Ekiti, months after he paid compensation to those whose structures would be affected as a result of the extension of the dualization of the Ado-Ikere-Ekiti road project. The governor on his arrival will dress a mammoth crowd before proceeding to perform the formal flag off of the demolition exercise. While speaking to newsmen, Governor Fayose says the final phase of the project would cost the state government the sum of 800 million naira.
This is close to about 800 million and is the final leg of the dualization. It's expected to be ready end of September and finally commissioning October to mark our 3rd year anniversary.
Elated by the project, the people promised to sustain their support for its administration.
In fact, we really appreciate Mr. Governor for his well-done job in this town.
We Ikere people, the indigenous of Ikere, we stand beside him with the youth, all the women, both market women. We are with him. We are going to support him. Wherever he's going, we are going to support him. We give him kudos because he's a man of his ways.
Governor Fayose has promised to provide a level playing ground for all candidates under the People's Democratic Party ahead of the primaries. And the news at 10 continues in our Lagos studios with Ijeoma. Ijeoma.
Thanks a lot, Ibrahim. The Vice-Chancellor of the Chukwuemeka Odumegwu University, Anambra State, has denied reports that herdsmen have invaded the university. Professor Fidelis Okafor, however, admitted that the presence of the herdsmen around the institution in the past had resulted in damage to its property.
A visitor to Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu University, Igbariam campus, first sees the great walls of the citadel of learning, serving as protection from any infiltration. The university is situated in Anambra East Local Government Area, one of the agrarian portions of the state. But for some time now, there has been a report of herdsmen invasion of the campus. As the news hits the campus, the Vice-Chancellor dismisses the story as false, but raises complaints on the ordeal of the university in the hands of the cattle rearers.
As far as the university is concerned, we haven't experienced any danger. And that is to say, any attack or any such movement. We have suffered some destructions from this cattle. We have a faculty of agriculture. We have experimental farms by the students, by the staff, research farms, plantation. All these had at one time or the other been destroyed by the cattle.
However, the Anambra State Commissioner of Police warns people to desist from causing panic, as the long arm of the law will soon catch up with such elements. He says the police is ready to assist the university on this particular matter and other security issues.
Well, we have cases of Fulani cattle destroying property. We step into such cases and we examine the circumstances, and we've always come up with solutions where victims have been compensated.
And with this assurance from the police, the authorities and students of the university are hoping that they can continue to sleep with their 2 eyes closed.
When the news at 10 returns, Nigeria's headline inflation hits 11-year high of 18.55% in December 2016. That's on business. To join us again.